Today, as part of revising current affairs for prelims, we'll take up some topics in history. So we have seen different subjects, and one such is history. In that, today we'll take up some important personalities with regard to birth and death anniversaries, which were commemorated or celebrated in this 2023-24. Fine. So the first one is Ramalinga Adigalar. Then we had Syed Ahmed Khan, Rani Durgavati, Saint Meera Bai, Alluri Sitarama Raju. Then we have Gandhi's Satyagraha, which attained 130th year. And we had Savitribhai Phule, not celebration, but she was featuring in many current affairs news through the years, okay, 2023, because of certain issues, as well as in 2024 early because of birth anniversaries. So in general, so we'll discuss, so who are all these personalities and what are the basic information which are there for your prelims. So the first one, we'll go with Ramalinga Adigalar. So in 1823, he has born. So naturally, 200th anniversary was celebrated jointly by Union government as well as the government of Tamil Nadu. So the most important aspect is he is a poet as well as a social reformer, as well as he is a person who is linked with large amount of social services, right? So he is from a place called Vadalur in Tamil Nadu in Kadalur district. So recently, today, so this was also again in news because as part of this 200th anniversary, there was an international center which was about to be constructed by government of Tamil Nadu. So when they started the work for it, so they excavated the area, and fortunately they have stuck across an ancient wall, right? So just today it happened. So probably in future, this particular region may be furthermore in news down the line this year with more archaeological excavations than the establishment of International Center for Ramalinga Adigalar. Fine. So he is popularly called as Vallalar. So this is one of the important nickname what he has. So some important organizations what he established was so Samarasa Veda Sanmarga Sangam, which is something which is equal to which treats people equally, and this particular organization is for truth and universal self-rule. And his goal was eliminating caste across all individuals and treat them equally. And later in 1867, a couple of years later, he established Satyagraha for providing free food to the poor. So since 1867, that particular place has continuously provided food till this particular day, right? So for more than 150 years, it has continuously provided it. And knowledge center was also established, Satyajnana Sabai, which was all of truth and knowledge. So this is a basic idea on organization which he had established. Whereas on part of religious perspectives, he said that service to living beings is a path of liberation, and he perceived Lord God as light. So no idol worship is actually there. It is more of light, right? So these are some of the social aspects what it is. But in case in prelims and UPSC, they are going to ask, so who is Ramalinga Adigalar? So from which place he belongs to? So that may be a very simple question. I don't think they will complicate much. And is some works which you can see, but generally, where is where? There is who is he and where is he? So this basic information which you can know, that is almost enough as far as the prelims is concerned. Okay, especially with UPSC, right? So since both union government and state government have commemorated his bicentenary, so naturally the personality becomes important. Then,
Sir, what does it mean by supreme grace of light? Means
see,
like,
the thing is, he perceived that God is always light. Okay, so they will have a lamp, and that particular lamp is considered to be the Lord, and
okay,
they don't consider what do you call a form or a character or a human like figure and will not be accepted. So he perceived God as light. Right? So that's how they went on for. Fine.
so like you said, like that, like the place and like who is. So, sir, like the organization and all that, whatever, like, do we need to remember?
The thing is, basic organization, say, for example, this alone, the Satya Jnana Sabha or Hall of True Knowledge. Say, since it is 200th anniversary,
Okay,
I gave importance to these organization. Otherwise, definitely they are not for it. They will just ask who is he, and he is popularly called as, or where he's from, or what is his idea. So, say for example, the statement will be like this: Ramalinga Adigalar is quite saint from Tamil Nadu. He considered or perceived God as a form of light. Okay, he condemned a caste system, or he was the one who started serving free food for poor. Likewise, some statement, a generic statement, it may be. Okay, if to complicate, they may have this particular organization, one or two, which would have been asked. Okay, but I don't suppose for personalities of this sort, they don't much complicate as of now in the previous experience what we have for, right? Because there are many such personalities who are there in these regions. So in different regions in Maharashtra and otherwise, questions were almost what do you call, not that depth. Okay.
okay,
If it is they were popular across India, then the question is different. Say for example, Raja Ram Mohan Rai kind of, then the questions are different. Yeah. Then the next one is Sir Syed Ahmed Khan. So this particular personality is one of the important personalities in early period of the Indian national freedom movement. So this particular personality, he is a pro-West, pro-British personality and a pro-reformist. So he is a reformist among uh, Islamic theologians because many of the Islamic reform movements were revivalistic in character, whereas he led a movement which was reformistic in character. So he started his career as um, a judge or a person who works in court initially and later promoted into judge, so judicial officer. So he started his career in British East India Company in this particular way, and slowly he ended up as a judge. And later, in he was a person who survived 1857 revolt. Okay, so he was in the northwest region, and he had protected many officials who were facing the revolt of the soldiers so personally, and that led to a booklet which he published, The Causes for the Indian Mutiny. So though it was a critique on British, why the causes were, I mean, why the mutiny happened, but still, so he was on ground, he was pro British in nature. And apart from that, he was very much apprehensive against the rhetorics of the conservatism what Islam had. So he started a scientific society in 1863 and a Victoria school to impart Western education and scientific models in madrasas and so on. Therefore, in 1875, he started Aligarh movement in Aligarh, where he wanted to start up reformist movement, and with that he established a Mohammedan Anglo-Oriental school. So Anglo-Oriental, that is, Anglo is Western, Oriental is East, so mix of both. School, and later it was upgraded as a college in 1875. And this particular college, after his death in 1921, that became the Aligarh Muslim University, which we have already seen, which was in news also. for the minority status. In polity, we have seen. So those who didn't, we can refer there in the previous video. So this particular Aligarh Muslim University, the first Muslim university in Southern Asia, and later we had successively in 1921-22. So we had Jamia Millia Islamia College, which was set up as part of the freedom movement, that is non-cooperation movement from Congress side. So that is another Muslim university which was set up. But that is a college which was set up that was against British, whereas Aligarh Muslim University was almost pro-British in its aspect. And you know the infamous British principals Theodore Beck and Morrison, so who instigated communal violence from this particular university. Right, so it became a hotspot of communal clash because of those British principles. And later, though he is in this particular way, he opposed the Wahhabi movement. You know, the Wahhabi movement is more conservative, fundamentalistic, revivalistic movement, which was across various segments of societies through the globe. In India also we had, and that was opposed by him. And he started United Patriotic Association or United India Patriotic Association. And this particular association was aiming to promote the cooperation between British and Muslims and empowering Muslims to get into the services into British administration. So that is what this is. For this, you know, Deoband School in UP. So that particular revivalist group issued a fatwa or religious order against this United India Patriotic Association as well as Ahmed Khan. And he was a champion of Urdu who was promoting Urdu among Muslims. And he is considered to be the father of two-nation theory, which led to partition. And because he was a critic on Indian National Congress, so when it was formed, he opposed Indian National Congress at that particular time. So he was also said to be the father of the two-nation theory, which led to partition. So all these are some of the information what you need to remember. So most importantly, Scientific Society, Mohammedan Anglo-Oriental College. So these two are important information which you need to have. And the United India Patriotic Association also, it was asked before in the prelims. Okay, so this is one important personality who opposed Congress in its formative stage. Okay. Then comes Rani Durgavati. The 500th birth anniversary was celebrated in Madhya Pradesh. So she possibly in NCRTs, when you read about Mughal Empire, you would have come across two important Rani. One is Rani Karnavati, right, and another one is Rani Durgavati, right. So Karnavati in the regions of Rajasthan, where she was contemporary. So both were initially contemporary to Humayun, and later Durgavati was contemporary to Akbar also, whereas Karnavati was completely contemporary to Humayun, and she was the one who sent the Rakhi thread and all to Humayun. But at the end of the day, she turned against Humayun. Whereas Durgavati was initially born in Kalinjar, and later she became the regent of Gondwana region and the Gond tribe, that is the Gond dynasty. And this particular Durgavati was famous for the defense against Akbar's invasion of Deccan, right? You know, in 1562, Akbar started campaign to Deccan. So at that time, many Asirgarh and many such forts fell against Akbar and his general Asaf Khan. So raided into the territories of Madhya Pradesh and Khandesh and various other regions. So she defended the territory of Gondwana against the general. At the end of the day, unfortunately, the Mughal forces overpowered her, and she killed herself instead of retreating. So she felt that death is the only solace what she can have, because she cannot live a life of an enslaved woman. So she killed herself in the battlefield. So that's the reason why she was remembered much in this particular region of Jabalpur and other areas. So Madan Mahal is a fort where she actually ruled from as a regent of her minor son for some strategic decisions, especially when she moved her capital to Chauragarh in Satpura ranges because it is strategically located and they could easily defend themselves to against enemies. So that is how she was still remembered, and we know there were many commemorations which were done. So not only the commemoration of stamps, but also statues, and even recently we had Coast Guard. One of the important indigenous vessels were named after Durgavati. Right. So this is one important personality from Madhya Pradesh region, queen who defended herself, defended the territory against Mughals. So another personality from
Sir, what was the significance of the Fort Madan Mahal? What was the
so that was a fort from where she ruled initially.
okay, sir.
Then Saint Meera Bai, so she was again in news because of birth anniversary. So she is famous for, you would have come across Meera Bai with Bhakti cult and in Sapuna Bhakti, that is a Bhakti movement which believed that God has some forms, right? And she is a follower of Krishna cult and an ardent devotee of Krishna. So initially, from the beginning, she was having that particular devotion, but unfortunately, she was given in marriage against her will uh, to the that is the Prince of Mewar, the Sisodia of Mewar. But unfortunately, within a couple of years, her husband got severely wounded, and within 1 or 2 years, because of that complexity, he died when he was fighting against Delhi Sultanate, right? Initially, and later, her father Ratan Singh Rathore of Marwar, as well as her father-in-law Rana Sanga of Mewar. So you know Rana Sanga of Mewar, the popular Rana of Rajasthan. So he was a father-in-law of her. So both of them, so father as well as father-in-law, they both died in the battle against what do you call Babur. So Babur's invasion. So almost her family was devastated because of the invasions. What it happened to be, and at last she, after her death of her husband, so she completely devoted herself to uh, bhakti movement, and she started having more bhajans and many uh, poems written on devotional songs written on Krishna, and she started traveling across various parts of North India in spreading the uh, bhakti of Krishna on Krishna. So she had been to Vrindavan, she had been to various places, but during her death, it was believed that she died in Dwaraka. Some say she died in Vrindavan, but anyway, there is some dispute. But she died in while spreading the Bhakti movement across this region, especially in the western part of India, with respect to Krishna cult. So she is one of the popular Krishna cult saint, like Chaitanya and others in northern India. Okay. So we don't have proper information on her because there were many ifs and buts, there were many folklore and ballads which were there, but concrete evidences we don't have on her. So we have only her, what do you call, the poems, the bhajans, and so on, which were so popular among the people, even in the contemporary times. Okay, so she is one of the important personality who was in news, and you also know that we have some information in NCERT, so it becomes important. But then the most important among all these is Alluri Sitarama Raju, because you have many questions which was asked on him repeatedly in UPSC also, as well as you have information about him in NCERT also. So definitely it is a point of question. So his death anniversary was observed, the 100th death anniversary. So he was a leader of Rampa Rebellion, So which was happening in the regions of Visakhapatnam and the surrounding areas. This particular rebellion was against the implementation of some forest act at that time, which devastated their way of life, especially the Podu system or the system of shifting cultivation like Jum. Okay, Jum cultivation, how it was in Northeast. So they had Podu system. So their tribal rights, their forest rights, their livelihood rights were violated by Forest Act, where the Act compelled these tribes or Adivasis to get rid of the forest land. So Alluri Sitarama Raju, so he started a war against British through Rampa Rebellion, and he engaged in guerrilla campaigns, and they started fighting against them as part of non-cooperation movement. Okay, so they adopted many things from non-cooperation movement, like promotion of Khadi. Remember, they involved in promotion of Khadi, they involved in promotion of various aspects of against toddy. Okay, so the aspects of constructive and destructive movement of aspects of non-cooperation movement was involved in this particular Rampa rebellion. Okay, remember that. And this particular Rampa rebellion, though it was fiercely fought, unfortunately, in 1924, when Alluri Sitarama Raju was captured and hanged by British, so the movement abruptly ended. But anyway, his brothers and others, they started having campaigns, but still that impact was not created, or influence was not that great when after his death. Okay, so even after independence, his brother was an MP in the first Lok Sabha. He was elected in 1952 later, but still at that time, so during the British period, so their movement had a great import among these people in Andhra Pradesh. So commemorating Rampa Rebellion in 1922 in 2022, the Andhra Pradesh government came out with a new district called Alluri Sitarama Raju district in and around Visakhapatnam, right? So Vizag region. So they had a new district carved out of it. Okay. So this is one of the important personality. So you need to remember him, and they can ask questions on this. Right. Right. Then Satyagraha of Gandhi. So in 1906, when Gandhi was in South Africa, he heard about the imposition of an ordinance, okay, called Asiatic Registration Law, where the non-whites have to register themselves compulsorily. So in the beginning of 1907, he launched a massive protest against that act against British in South Africa, called Satyagraha. So that Satyagraha, which was a term coined by him, but later when we had I.K. Gujral, the former Prime Minister of India, who he wrote a book. In that he had mentioned that it was not Gandhi who actually coined the term, but his nephew Mohanlal Gandhi provided it. But in his own autobiography, Gandhi had mentioned that I have coined the term so and so. But anyway, remember, Satyagraha is not a new thing. Satyagraha was something which is already present in India, both culturally in Mahabharata or the epic systems, or in a general walk of life, like how Buddhism went on and so. So Satya means truth, and Agraha means something which is holding on, right? So holding on to truth. So that is what, in general, what Satyagraha is. So the first practicing of Satyagraha came up in South Africa, whereas in India, it happened to be in Bihar, that is Champaran. Okay, Champaran in Bihar is the first Satyagraha in India by Gandhi. Okay, so apart from that, he had many Satyagrahas which were fought across India, but the first two are these. And the forms of Satyagraha, you have active, passive, and fasting. So all the three are there. Okay, so fast unto death at times, or general fasting. So what is the difference between passive and active. What is the difference between passive and active?
So
Passive,
like
yeah.
inactive, so like breaking the law, civil law, and also
Okay.
and like
Passive.
So means not cooperating, just not cooperating, but they don't break.
Okay. So it is actually withdrawal of support or non-cooperation, that is not cooperating of with the government. Okay. Say for example, you are nominated by British Council, you resign from the post. Okay, you don't attend this particular thing. Likewise. Okay, here you don't do anything illegal. Okay, nothing illegal you do. Whereas in active resistance, it is violation of law. Okay, active violation of a act or a law. So that we call it as active resistance. Say for example, they say you should not enter the forest, you will enter the forest. You should not manufacture salt, you try to manufacture salt. Okay, so violation of a law, so naturally it will be a illegality. Okay, so the act of illegality. So that is the difference between passive and active. Okay, so some information about Satyagraha, some information what all the Satyagrahas we had, the longest Satyagraha what he had. So likewise a question can happen, right? Okay. So fasting in how many times or what are the time period where he had fasting? So we had it in Yerwada prison. So after 1922, so withdrawal of non-cooperation movement, he had fasting. He had fasting during civil disobedience movement also, communal award when it was announced. In Quit India movement, he had fasting when police atrocities were there. So there were many time period where he went on for long-term fasting, right? So that you can have a slight look upon. But anyway, so generally, so Gandhi's Satyagraha. So what are all the events associated with Satyagraha you can associate with. Remember, Ahmedabad mill strike is not a Satyagraha. Okay, so you had Champaran, Kheda. Okay, whereas these two are Satyagrahas, whereas Ahmedabad is a mill strike. Okay, it is not a Satyagraha in general, which is considered. Okay.
so one
Yeah.
question, so like the Champaran Satyagraha is also called as the first civil disobedience, so am I right?
Yes. Yes.
So like
Yes.
how the laws were breaking, means like the law was of the 3/20, am I right?
Because the entry of Gandhi was prohibited, he violated that particular order and he entered Champaran.
Got it, sir.
So that is the reason why it was. And later he went on and he understood what the problem is and he advocated the farmers not to adhere to the law, the 3/20 rule. So they wanted to be violated and that was a program what they engaged with. Yeah.
Got it, sir.
Right. Then last one is Savitribhai Phule. So she was in news for various issues, and in Maharashtra, they were even the governor created some controversy by having some issues with the speech. Okay. So on her. So anyway, there were various other reasons also when she was put in place in news. So Savitribai Phule, you know Jyotiba Phule. So one of the most important social reformists in India as well as in Maharashtra. So one of the earliest group of social reformers who solely worked for the empowerment and upkeepment of the downtrodden, especially the scheduled caste people. So Savitribai Phule, so she was the first woman teacher in India and the first woman, naturally the first woman headmistress. So she started a girls' school in Pune, especially for the girls of the depressed class. Okay, so starting a girls' school itself is difficult, and that too for the depressed class people, and you can see how much difficulty she would have had. And also, she was the first one to start working towards female infanticide. Okay, so widow plights. Okay, so they try to take care of widows. okay, rape victims and so on. So organizational strength was first established to say there were many people who went on for prohibition of female infanticide and so on. But establishing an organization, a house to do so was first by her, and later, Seva Sadan and others came in with Rama Bai, Rani and others. But initially, it was she who started, and she was not only a teacher but also a good poet and a social service person. So she came up with a poem entitled "Go Get Education." She even published many papers, magazine kind of, and she was against child marriage, sati, so female infanticide. She promoted widow remarriage. So many other issues she came up with, and one of her husband's friend, um, his wife, Fatima, was hired by her to the school, and thus Fatima became the first Muslim woman teacher in that particular time period. Okay, so one of the greatest women social reformers from India, and you need to remember both Jyotiba Phule as well as Savitribhai Phule, and they worked along with Jyotiba Phule's Satyagraha Samaj also. So there were many organizations and many contributions which she did as a part of her contribution to the education of especially the girls of depressed class. Okay. So these are some of the important personalities who were in news in these time period, especially 2023, and almost many of them have been already asked in various time period in the span of UPSC exams. So apart from that, they were also present in many of them are present in NCRTs. So try to have some concentration in this area. Okay, thank you.